welcome. If you're here, it's because you're interested in a type of playlist building. Um, I have thought about this idea for such a long time, and I don't know, today felt like the right day to really like bite the bullet on this first concept that I really wanted to share. It, yeah, welcome as well. My name is Fabian, and I just absolutely love music, and I'm a little more obsessive when it comes to that, and I just love creation and being able to build something and a type of narrative. And I don't know, for me personally, I really enjoy playlist listening experiences a lot. And for me, it has become an outlet of creativity, and I just love talking about it to a point where I enjoy sharing it. So I want to talk about Control Alt Delete. And this is a concept of playlisting that I came up with a couple of years ago, and it's really evolved into a method of sorts of how to listen to music um, in a way that lets you cycle through, discover, and also simplify at the same time. And I feel like the only way to really break that down for you guys is to kind of go through each segment. So, what kind of inspired this? And I really will want to talk about the playlists themselves first. I'm not really going to show you guys the music in this just because it's more or less like not about that really, more than it is like kind of the thing. But yeah, I didn't super come up with like a plan for how we were going to talk about this because I just feel like who needs a plan for everything, right? Um, I was inspired basically by SZA's Control title, and this was literally like strangely like grappling around the time like what is are we 2025, so I maybe came up with this idea like 3 years ago, and it's not like a super original idea either, but like I loved the title Control Alt Delete and that theory that SZA could have released her albums as Alt and Delete. And so it inspired a playlist for me. I was having a lot of trouble, and we're going to begin with Alt um, because that's where I really started. And it was just going to be a singular playlist, and it was going to be a home to all of my alternative music that I really felt connected with and loved. And thus, Alt was born. Um, but I used these playlists for the first time as a consecutive playlist that was built throughout the year. I feel like in my experience, and most people probably experience this, but when you make a playlist, you just don't listen to it. Like you make it and you never go back. And I was feeling really disconnected with not listening to the things that we create. You put so much effort into it, and we put so much effort into, for example, like creating playlists for other people that we care about. But like, do we care about how we listen and how we intake our music? Are we always cautious of like what's still resonating with us? Like, what messages may we have outgrown or things like that? And not everybody may think as deeply as I do or like as into it as I do, but I feel like we are very connected to lyricisms that draw into us or sounds that pull us in, and there is like a reason for it, essentially. So each playlist became a manifesto over the last 3 years, and I basically just want to show you guys what each year kind of has taught me, and what kind of cycle it's essentially like sprouted. With alt, it was very clean, and I wrote manifesting a more alternative year. Alternative music, fashion, style, be different and enjoy the fuck out of it. And it was because I felt so disconnected with alternative music, which is strange because it's my home. When I don't know if anyone else really thinks or is like remembrant of the very first music that they were drawn to. Mine has always been in some sort of alternative genre. And of course, it matters about like your circle of influence, and those first people tend to be your parents, siblings, or some type of family ship. And I feel like our brains really don't develop to like start enjoying the process of music until like as a kid you will like it, you'll become obsessive with it. Over singular songs that are very repetitive and stuff because it's enjoyable. But to like enjoy the depth of what songs give us, I feel like it doesn't come till later down the line. So for me, I can really remember my first music experiences, and all of them are rooted in alternative music. And I strayed so far away from that because I let myself grow to love pop music, as all of us gay men do. And I've always loved them and had a soft spot for the girls. But it's like was allowing myself to truly fall in love with all of it and the world of it. And I wanted to go back home. And so I did with alt. And it was really just like this way that like throughout the year I was able to build into um, this playlist. And yeah, it ended up becoming a pretty small one. It was like 38 songs, 2.5 hours. And it was some of my like favorite alternative songs at the time, masculine, feminine, things that had a lot of world building and just things that felt like very Fabian core at home and heart of what I love. And I kept it very concise because I preferred at a time all of my playlists to be pretty concise. So I wasn't trying to go overboard. But I have since very much grown to love lengthier playlists, that allow you to have such variation and also just inevitable beautiful moments with them, and also create like a sense of equality with your music. But that's a totally different conversation. Um, but yeah, that was alt. So it was cool because it was like very early in the year when this had came out in 2023. I would say like beginning of 2023, and at the end of the year, I took this picture of our lampshade, and I created these three pictures. I don't know why I did it, but it was then that I was like, I had compiled everything. I cleaned up the playlist. I cleaned up alt, let me call it its respective name, and I I created this like triptych idea, and then control was born out of this, and I felt this really interesting onset. Um, and I don't have the full message here because I did convert all of these concepts into Spotify. And so these, if you choose to listen to any of these playlists, if you like alternative music, um, I completely understand if you don't. So it's a very genre specified kind of method. But um, basically, like they will all live on Spotify. And I have Delete currently living with Apple because it's the one I'm still building. Um, but Spotify does not save your entire descriptions. So I only have a brief description for you of what control was like. And this vibe changed completely. I used a more infrared photo and detail of it. There may be a time where I compile everything so that it just lives someplace. But it's so funny talking about this without like some type of structure. It's so unnormal for me. But anyways, um, Control was really the year at the beginning of last year, and really the onset of it was the ending of 2023. Shifted into it becoming another method of manifestation, and like had me really thinking about like what I wanted to implement, like what kind of musical habits did I want to change, how did I want to shift gears, what did I want control to mean. If alt meant alternative music and that was the heart of it and what it was supposed to be from the beginning, how does that grow and become a sense of control within the realm of alternative music? um so this was kind of the description. Setting into the new year, I've discovered I have a new craving once more. I am thrilled to still be so inspired by music and constantly engaging in new pathways and waves of my soulful trend. When I first made alt version of this playlist, it was blah 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 blah. We don't know, it's missing. But I can just tell you right now, it was a controlled sense of exploration. It was fully allowing yourself to allow those branches to really like let their leaves drop and just letting go in a sense that like you let yourself intake everything. And last year was like the first year that I felt like I really went on a journey of discovery with new music, because I reached a point where I felt like I had capped my artistry and stuff, and of course I have my range and things like that, but things started to feel stagnant at some point, and like I noticed it with alt because it was just a compilation of everything I've already had, and like how many alternative themed playlists can you have? So Control allowed this world to really open up and blossom, and like for once I discovered so many great new artists. Um, and it's following the artists you love, like remaining to follow them and their artistic journeys. You may not like everything your artists put out, but if you stay on their journeys, you may connect with something at a later time and you have no idea. It's happened to me with the Killers. It's happened to me with Kings of Leon, like just to name a drop a few. But the control and allowing myself to let go of these strict boundaries that I was having with music and my relationship with it let me discover, you know, Latin alternative, which is a whole different world. It let me find and discover up and coming artists that are killing the game, like doing a completely great job as new artists and just like evolving from what we're used to. Um, and like finding new ambience within it, and like just alternative music has such a range. It could be playful with R&B, it could be soulful, it could be so many different things, and it's just the most rebellious genre that I feel. And a lot of our genres now blend different things, but it just is the one that has remained ever so present and allowed the breaking of musical barriers in general. That's at least how I feel. So, like there's sadness, there's heaviness, there's just so much beauty within it. And yeah, like last year was one of my favorite years of discovering alternative music, but it put me back in. It flipped everything. It flipped my narrative. It made me isolate isolate so much from um, other genres, and like the depth of discovery. Like we're talking about diving into alternative that has existed before everything. Like part of this was also investing and almost educating myself in like the roots of where some things have come from, essentially. And like I can find strings of like musical ancestry almost, within like bands and artists and stuff. And of course we all can like recognize something and like have it remember something else, but to like feel a flow through multiple. It's pretty cool. So it's something that I encourage people to do. Like I'll give everybody a really nice example. Um, like if you're a Lana fan and you're strict around Born to Die or Ultraviolence, and that's solely it forever for the rest of your life, that makes you a little boring. You shouldn't do that. You should literally be listening to all of Lana and seeing her growth and appreciating each separate era, for example. She's an easy one to point out. Um, you may not like everything. You may have not enjoyed Honeymoon along the way, but you sure as hell are probably liking Norman Rockwell or whatever the fuck. That can easily be said with any artist. And there's something nice about like finding like more intimate bands as well. And I've talked about a few on this channel if you've followed along. Um, like Automotion is great. New Dad is amazing. Um, the Eves, I have a biased relationship with them, I would say, but like they also are killing the game. And then it's enjoying where people started, like Coldplay, Muse, all of them. Like for me, like these are bands that I've loved for so long and have followed since I've started with them, but like oftentimes do I rarely give myself the opportunity to continue to digest their entirety, their fullness. So that's what Control brought, and it really manifested this very beautiful year that I had last year of immense like growth in a different way, um, and allowed me to explore. So then we come to Delete, and this one also came to me very towards the fall of. Actually, no, I'm lying. Delete came to me in the beginning of 2024 as well. And I just had to also teach myself almost, which is still a daily struggle. Like, this is a very hard thing to do, but stillness. I mean, patience is obviously maybe different levels of difficulty for different people, but for me personally, patience is a challenge. Um, and so it was the first time that I was like, you have an idea, now just hold on to it and leave it for later. And I have a bunch of them, but it's like, when do we actually go back to our ideas that we came up with and act on them? And delete is that. It is an idea that is acted upon. And I did really well with it with my last 2 or 3 playlists last year and a couple in the beginning of this year. And the meaning of it has been very loose for me, but it was a manifestation of 2025. And so in a couple of my past video diaries, if you guys feel free to check them out, they're just other conversations around music, and I have a great time talking about, shit that I like. um, but delete was easily a concept that was now let go of the things that like no longer serve you. And so it's a way of being able to look more inwardly and like straightforwardly just to tell you guys it's going through your entire discography and just shuffling it. Like starting your day, breaking the matrix, like not listen. Well, yes, listening to your monthly playlists on top of it, should you be making those, but more like while I go through this experience of this new year and I'm shuffling music, I want to put the things that feel really solid to me now in here, and that comes with the expansion we had, that comes with continuing to dive into artists that you love solely. So it's only focusing internally on what you already have and what you are given. And it's also allowed me to explore so much this year in a different way, and it's been so beautiful. And along the way, if there are things that you come across that you just don't connect with, refine it, let it go. Like how I've been thinking about things is like, I don't connect with a song or resonate it anymore. And like, of course, if a song is beautiful, like, may it find you later in life. Like you're walking in a store and you hear it on the intercom and you're just like, wow, I really haven't heard this song in a long time, but in my day to day you would never choose to hear that. Like there are just songs that I've heard enough in my life that I'm okay with not having it take up space here so that it's not taking up space here, fully, and it allows room for constant ins and outs. And so it's essentially the essence of what the cycle created. But to tell you guys more directly, this was my manifesto at the beginning of this year. And I forced myself not to write about this until it hit January. And I didn't start delete until now. So, new year, new onset. The idea to delete came to me last year, and I have been ever so ready for it. This trilogy started as a simple playlist idea for an alternative concept, but has transformed into something that builds a good habit. Present extension and refinement, which would be the first, like, it would literally be straight up how that was. Alternative is the present, it's exactly what it was then and direct. Extension was that expansion, that exploration, that willingness to let go of control in order to have a sense of control. And delete is a method to refine fully and keep what is really holding for you. And of course, I know this sounds a lot more like less about music and more about like internal, but it creates a good cycle too of like constant intake and release. So it's like if you're focusing on a full year of like being absolutely present, like it's going to be a different kind of year than you have listening to um, something where every time you're listening to music, it's something that you haven't heard before. Like, um, versus now living a year where you're intaking things that have been a part of you for so long and mean something still, and also expanding on like taking that and like opening it up, but it's still so inward that like I don't know. If you get it, you get it. And it is about music because we should always be able to be adaptive and open and willing to, in a sense, new experiences. And you just, I don't know, we're at such a lucky place in modern times to have the ability to stream music the way that we do. And this, I feel like, is really nice to have such an awareness with music versus intaking it and forgetting about it. Like in one ear, out the other doesn't fuck. It does not fuck with me. Um, like there is nothing that I want to pass me by. Like, you know, and we're never gonna hear every song. We're never, you know what I mean? But we're at a very lucky time to be able to have such an adaptable listening experience with music. Um, but to continue the description. The perfect way of letting in, letting go, and paying attention to what you have. Delete, our final alternative manifesto, allows us to cycle what we already have and remove what is no longer needed. So this is kind of just saying what I said. Um, it's a simplification combined and positive expansion. More easily said, as the year goes on, my listening pattern changes to focus on all my music I currently have. I will cycle on shuffle and build the playlist as we go throughout the year to sounds that are solidified in a more forever state with me. And it's like really keeping in just like all the music that like really, really, truly resonates with me. and that's carrying music that I've loved as a child, as a teenager, as now, but like as a fullness, as a whole, that it means something to me. And if it doesn't, then what the fuck is it taking up space for? Um, Sounds that I discover will be in a strict within my artist zones to expand and get to know them further. Now is the time to focus even more inwardly that we have ever experienced to be able to master the minute details of it all. I still want my monthlies to exist as their own form of love, but you will see more sounds within them along with moments, new records from current, and whatever. Here's the start of the little things that make us the next best us and to being true to our words, dreams, and desires. And I love that I'm talking with you guys about this concept right now because it's something that even I have struggled with to stay on track with. While control was very easy to have no control, delete has a sense of restriction that has been challenging. So I've made this playlist pretty strongly, but it's been hard to keep up with the formality of it, I suppose. And it's okay because I still add like a song here or two there. But as the year goes on, and it's like there's no rush to get to filling this out fully, because I am listening to music regardless throughout the year. I'm able to add later and like exactly see from a distance what was so connective. And it's just interesting how different each track, each playlist has been from another. But I know this was a lot of talking, and I did mean for this to be quite a shorter experience. But if you are a music lover and feel like you wanted a new approach to how you listen to music, I hope you found this sort of insightful, or maybe something more was able to be given to take away from it. Um, but yeah, with like literally nothing but love, let's stay present and enjoy being able to explore and expand and refine and be aware. I think it's really a beautiful thing. So, bye.